And do you think anyone has cracked successful ads formula in the gaming industry yet?
It's a great question. I started with in-game advertising back in 2004. So it's,
Hmm.
a bit more than 20 years now. The authentic promotion of somebody around a game or a product or a service is now gold.
What do you think about LinkedIn games?
Do I want to monetize anybody else? And by that, I'm meaning the 98% of people who do not buy coins or do not, right, buy subscription. Sometimes the ads are a seed for an idea. Sometimes they are an extension, a highlight of the game itself. I think those two worlds are absolutely together.
Welcome back to Game Biz Heroes. Today I'm joined by Guy Ben-Dov, Executive Vice President of Supply and Revenue Operations at Anzu, one of the leading platforms redefining how games are monetized. We'll be talking about the future of monetization in games, how players and ads can coexist, and what 2026 has in store for publishers and developers. So, Guy, please welcome to the show. Happy to see
Thank
you
you for
here.
having me. I'm very excited about it.
Of course, and let's jump straight to my first question. So, from your perspective, are current monetization strategies in mobile games building long-term player loyalty or are they accelerating churn?
I think it's just a fact, right? It's part of the ecosystem. It's part of the business. We've seen free to play really dominating as a business model with free to play. By the way, whether it's game or magazines, any type of media, advertising was always there to subsidize
Exactly.
the side of the business itself. So um, I think the industry itself shown an amazing innovation with the type of ads, with the type of ad units that were introduced to market that goes in line with everything around the platforms, right? That's happening. So bottom line, ads were always important. They show users, readers, players, new games, new services, new products. And, for some players, it doesn't work if it comes in an unpleasant point in their
Yeah.
game. This is where rewarded ads, as an example, really shine. There's a great example of, a situation where the player selects to see an ad and there's obviously no churn. They get something back. But any media that overuses ads obviously can expect that, this would affect some of the players.
And with AI, user generated content and platform shifts rapidly changing monetization, which trend do you think, do you believe the industry is still underestimating in 2026?
Um, I think AI actually the most exciting thing is for AI to bring new type of games and new styles, right? Everybody is starting to use AI to do A/B testing at high scale. So now it's ABCDE testing, larger audiences, more data. People start to use generative AI for ads, for assets in the game. That's great. Again, it allows us much higher scale. I think the next level is with both of them to have AI actually explore and even maybe test itself new genres, new visual styles that are trending, right? If we looked at hyper casual back in the day, it was all about the trend of the week, right? Because it was so quick.
Yeah.
Um, Moving from 2D black and white to 2D color to 3D, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody was chasing sort of the news of the day or the meme of the day and run hyper casual games. Now the market changed a bit, but it does allow AI. And if you look at the amazing crazy work, right, weird work, the generative AI is doing sometime, kind of goes sideways totally. Those sideways, if I need to be crazy predictive here, is one of these weird offering from the AI is actually going to set a trend and create a new style or even a new genre in gaming. Now catch me in 12 months from now and see how wrong it was.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Also, I know that you've been at the intersection of gaming and advertising with your in-game ad monetization solution for quite a while, right? So what do teams get wrong when they treat in-game like just another placement?
It's a great question. I started with in-game advertising back in 2004. So it's, a bit more than 20 years now. It started really mimicking real life billboards, right? It was very 3D. They just start to monetize those billboards, banners around the pitch, maybe. And it was what became eventually out of home advertising, but within inside 3D games, simulations, racing, sports. Today, intrinsic ad is a new unit that is way more than what I described. It goes in 2D, it goes in different forms and shapes. And by that being the new ad unit, being the new standard, maybe it is the unit that allows us to set new KPIs, new standards in the market. Intrinsic is sort of on the border of redefining a bit how new ad unit can be a standard unit on one hand, but look at opportunities that allow us to monetize real estate in the game that wasn't monetized. Intrinsic can be clickable, should be clickable. Intrinsic can connect to rewarded offering within a game, right? Just upgrade the old native and even the old banners into something that is absolutely new, and by new, allow itself to generate new standards in the market. And this is very exciting for me.
And what's the maybe uncomfortable trade-off between privacy expectations and ad revenue that the industry doesn't talk about enough? Maybe
Um,
there's so.
in a way, this is also, I mean, the recent growth of intrinsic ads is really coming at a point where privacy is becoming, a substantial part of the market. And I think it's fair to say that privacy now is an absolute fact, right? It's not a problem. It's
Yeah.
there. It's a fact. In a way, it's even a right, right? The way that it's being laid out in the law, it's being a right of people. But, you look at the world is becoming immensely digital, right? You are in front of your PC and phone and TV and car, and everything is a screen and everything is a digital screen, even out of home digital
Yes.
advertising, right? So everything around you is digital. And we also understand that privacy is a right, but also some way an illusion. I don't want to go into, geopolitics and go crazy, but somewhere between the fact that it is a factual right of people, but it's also an illusion, right? This is where I think the tools and the advertising world is looking to understand how ads can still reach the right audience to offer value, to offer an interesting new game or new product or new service. And this is where the magic is, where privacy levels were lower. We could get a lot of information in real time and put, some action behind that. Now, as privacy gate is more gated and there are other levels, but you are surrounded with more digital platforms, right? How advertisers can, and it's not about exploiting, by the way, how they can use that and understand that to make it still contextual to you, to have you interest to get, new products, new services, new games that are relevant for you, right? And if you want it, you sort of open the door and then it's allowed and it's all good. If you don't want it, right, you can move it. And I expect that it would be allowing, us as users, us as, players to really fine tune anybody that would want to fine tune, right? The privacy levels, they would be able to do that.
Hmm.
And that would continue to happen. It's a fact that we need to work with and not against.
Exactly. And in a world where players increasingly expect value before ads, right? So what would a truly player-first monetization model would look like from your perspective?
I think mobile leads the way. Mobile leads the way, and in that essence, I look at a lot of time at even social casinos, right, that are under a lot of pressure
Yeah.
to show us a lot of what we would do in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, First of all, you get something for free, right? You get the app for free, you get the game for free. So
Yeah.
immediately you get value. Now the app can make a decision. Do I want to make sure you're just buying elements within the game, whether it's coins or anything else? Do I want to sell you a subscription?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to monetize anybody else? And by that, I'm meaning the 98% of people who do not buy coins or do not by subscription. Do I want to offer you something else? And, a lot of time, the first offer is no ads, right?
Yeah.
And people go and do that. And, I done it more than one time. There are games, wonderful puzzles and shooters, and it's across the board where this is the immediate offer. By the way, I'm not even sure it's a good business for the games themselves, because what you pay as a user is way lower than what they can do over time by showing ads to the
Yeah.
user. But it is a very clear offer that allows higher churn, and at the end of the day, there's more likelihood that the user who bought no ad would also buy something inside the game.
Exactly.
Value is always critical. And it goes back to the point where the ads need to be valuable to you, not only in giving you some kind of a reward, but also be contextual to stuff that's interesting for you. We all know that, uh, when we give our phone to a young relative or, a kid, the children, and me, they'll play around, they'll do some stuff, and then you start to see ads that are not relevant for you, right?
Yeah.
It is the same thing, right? As long as the ads appear in a way that gives you value and are contextual to you, it's not gonna be a problem. And to begin with, you get the media, whether it's a game or another app, for free. So hey, it's a great business, I think. It's a great offering for the user base.
And do you think anyone has cracked this successful ads formula, let's say, in the gaming industry yet?
I look,
Any examples of the games maybe, or publishers or developers?
I think hyper casual in general, those who did that very well back in, I think it was 18 or 20, just before COVID, did very well, right? So the situation, while it is only quote unquote 6 years ago, they have really managed to make a very big business of it for
Yeah.
those few years where this could have been, could was a good business. It's really lovely to be in this space because you gotta innovate every 2, 3 years, and this is
Yeah.
why there's no one
Exactly.
solution that says, "Hey, these guys got it; they're doing it right." What I do see now is that there's a lot of more attention around ad revenue and ad monetization. There's strong hunger for revenues, and in that advertising, sponsorships, different type of ads. There's a very strong interest to go beyond the obvious, beyond the rewarded video, beyond the interstitial. I love that. How to present it also, the no ad item, the other elements that are connected to privacy are all coming together and showing themselves in different ways in different games. And by the way, in different platforms, because, we work with PC and HTML5 games, and even, with some console games, and where mobile is so much more advanced than many other platforms.
Yeah.
Uh, in understanding how to use that. That's again very, very exciting for me to see teams that work on HD games, right, on big screen games, now looking at advertising as a revenue channel, but really sort of scratching their heads. Really reminds me of 2013, I guess, where things started to grow. again, more than 10 years ago, and really try to understand sort of the rules, the way of the land in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And in the past, also some argued that ad tech and game design are moving in opposite directions. So, what do you think? What can make ad tech and game design work together, move together?
I think it's the other way around, really. I mean, ads
Mm,
today are an extension of the games.
yeah.
A lot of times they're the seed of the game, right? Because we've done more than one time, and I'm saying the different teams that I work with, you would do an ad. There wasn't even a game. You would do an ad or two. You run that ad, and you see what ad people click on more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And said, okay, so people want that type of game more than the other type of game, and you will go ahead
Mm.
and do that game that was shown, people clicked more, even though there was no game. Obviously, we've seen those ads that were, for those couple of years where you could run an ad that didn't actually show the game. It showed something else that was usually frustrating.
It's a controversial thing, you know. Someone liked it, someone was very opposite this kind of ads, and still these conversations
Of
are
course,
going.
and there were
Yeah,
sort of standards and rule, but some games came out of that, right? So
of
you would
course,
do
yeah.
something that, people said, we're very angry. This is not the game. I clicked it. I do want this. And
Yeah.
the click is an intentional, actual move that somebody at the end of the day is doing. So people wanted it. And this is why where they were so frustrated and for obvious reasons, right? But you catch it. This is to the point about AI before. So, people want this. How about we'll give them that? Right? How about we do that games? Sometimes the ads are a seed for an idea. Sometimes they are an extension, highlight of the game itself. I think those two worlds are absolutely together, absolutely goes together. And when you look at the game as a service that doesn't run for a few months, but it runs over, a few years or even many years, right? This is a great tool for you to understand how you want to evolve the offering, how you
Mm-hmm.
want to evolve the style, the complexity of the game by talking to a large audience in a very easy way. Do you like this or do you like that? And you're not even asking the question. You allow them to click.
Yeah.
Just the number of clicks would tell you where to go.
Exactly. And we talked a little bit about some predictions, but moving on, fast forward to 2027. So let's imagine that now is January 2027. What single change in monetization will make the industry and you say that, okay, this is the new era?
I'd like to say AI, right? Obviously, but I won't say AI. I think for me, looking at the bigger trends, I'm looking at social media. I'm looking at TikTok. I'm looking at Instagram, and the effect that they will have on games, exposing games, right, as a medium, is going to be substantial. I know that a lot of these platforms tried to integrate games. If you go back again, taking you back to 2010, I want to say, Facebook, right, just starting. Zynga is building its fame and success on top of that. This was an absolute, pivotal moment for games. For HTML games existed before, web games, right? But this connectivity between social media and games is always, again and again, as multi-user games came out, as social games came out, that is usually sort of a wheel that gives a lot of momentum into the business. And if I want to go wild and not say I want to say that Instagram and or TikTok and or similar platform would be where this would be sort of aha moment. How can we think about that, right?
Mm,
It would require them to do a move. It would require some, game publishers or totally new game publishers to do a move. I'm excited about the potential because usually social media and games, when they combine themselves together and present something that is relevant for the time, not for 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, boom, it grows like crazy within a year. So
Yeah.
See,
What do you think about LinkedIn games?
so
if if
I
we're
play.
here.
Yeah, I play LinkedIn game every day. I'm playing the Sudoku one. I'm playing maybe another one, with Duolingo, right? Also, a great example where you go in, you play a game. It's a simple Sudoku, so it doesn't take more than, I don't know, 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it maybe it's the age, but there's a set of about 10 games there, so maybe people play other games as well. What it shows me at the end are two things. One, what's sort of my streak, right? How many days did I play the game? And
Yeah.
sort of entices me to come back again and again and again. God knows they don't need to give me specifically any more reason to go to LinkedIn because I'm there practically all of my day.
Yeah.
And I still play the game. And second, I see who did better and who did worse than
From
me.
your
And talking
connections.
about
Yeah.
1 second maybe, and it's nice to see that, and more than one time say, hey, I need to reach out to this guy and say hello. I'm talking about so 10,000 people that are connected to me. But it does remind me and does put you in a sort of a social situation where you know, other people play the same game, so they must think the same. And going back to that social point, right? We're all small tribes, and we do want to know that the people that surround us are, with similar ideas, value, way of thinking. And this is a wonderful way to do that. Uh, Taking the old and the new, it's not going to be sort of pivotal for the
Yeah.
market, right? On one hand, and we see what's happening in Japan and Korea with games that are connected to instant messaging as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very relevant for those markets, and it didn't work as well in Western markets, right? So this is why I'm looking at what's next. I don't care about what I'm using anymore. I'm not the core market, but I'm looking at what my daughters are using and how
Mm-hmm.
they're using that. And I also look at trends. I look at the number of people that are moving away from spending time on very, very casual games and spend more time on the TikToks and Instagrams of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely a shift. We know that.
Of course. Yeah.
And I think it's for the benefit of mostly the casual game market. Those markets need to converge again somehow. The Facebook moment of 2010 needs to happen again in 2030. I don't know,
We'll
2070.
see. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe they're cooking something new. Who knows?
Who knows?
Exactly. I also love Sudoku on LinkedIn. So maybe one time I will beat you by a couple of
For
seconds,
sure.
but
Now I will
still.
look at the larger list and see where we are.
Exactly. I love to see that who from my connections are played and some unexpected faces can appear. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not so long.
It's great. It's another way to sort of knock on the door and say, "Hey, you
Yeah.
remember this? Remember that?"
I beat you today in Sudoku, so let's talk.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But at least we will have a laugh together. So yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
and there's people are competitive. People, you
Yeah.
have the different motivations of how people behave. At the end of the day, and definitely on the business side, if you're looking at LinkedIn, you assume that people are very social, they're outspoken, they're going out to reach out and meet people, not because they don't like it, but because they do. This is another wonderful way to get people together. You can take it and, some folks would, I don't think that would go from LinkedIn, but, Among Us, great, social
Yeah.
game. Other social games can do that very well. I think exporting, see, the scores, right, at the end of the game or end game situation into social media need to happen more. I've seen quite a few startups that are trying to provide tools that allow games to promote highlights from the game in social
Mm.
media and basically have people return to the game or try again the game, because ads are becoming very authentic, right, with influencers. The ad of drink this drink because it's great and it would give you wonderful life is kind of gone, it's kind of gone. The style and vibe are there, right? But, the authentic promotion of somebody around a game or a product or a service is now gold. And when I played the game, I said, yes, I managed to beat this or to solve that. And I promote that vibe through social media in an authentic way, right? That's money for the game. It doesn't, I mean, whether I'm paid for it or not. And I think more games would want to do that. It's not easy, right? I
Yeah.
think people are trying to sort of solve how to do that at scale.
And now it was a gold from a guy, gold advice from a guy.
Well,
So thank you so much. It was so interesting. One thing that I had in my mind is I think, why in my opinion, why LinkedIn games, why I see so many connections playing LinkedIn games. I think that's because first of all, you can play once a day and they're very quick games. I mean, 1-2 minute max and you're finished for sure. And it's still saving that vibe of a professional platform. So yeah, you're working, you're reading articles, newsletters, watching webinars, talking with people about business, but then you have a minute to like ease your brain, right? And then go back again to business. And I think that's amazing. And that was the ideal formula that if I would able to play all day long, maybe that would not be that interesting for me. But if I know that it's just 1 minute from my day between some smart calls or hard
yeah,
tasks that I need to do, that's exactly what I need now, and I don't need more. So I think also this was one of the things that people love in LinkedIn games.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the timing,
Yeah.
the style overall. It doesn't ask you to be invested,
Yeah.
right? Heavily, other than the clock ticking in the background, because timing is so critical element there.
Yeah.
And it worked great. This is why, my other favorite casual game is that game where you have the dinosaur running, internet connectivity, and in
Mm-hmm.
your browser, you got the dinosaur running,
Uh,
and you play that. It's my favorite game to do on flight. Um, and
wow. Yeah.
yeah. This is kind of more of an action right side scroller runner. And to put that in LinkedIn, I think that would be a good question. Would people actually want to do that? Because this, maybe you're more invested, maybe you need to be so timed right for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously every day you get the same thing, so it's not that interesting. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
I think, they've chose amazingly well. They've used the platform amazingly well. It's great for LinkedIn, but again, now expand that into Instagram. I think that there's an opportunity there for something. I wish I would be smart enough to know what it is.
We'll see. We'll wait for them. We gave them some hints, so please take it
There
and
you
give
go.
us something good.
Good luck.
Okay,
Don't
thank you,
forget our
guys.
10%.
Of course. Thank you for sharing these insights, your knowledge, and also honest predictions. And just thank you for this chat about our industry, about what's coming, and what would be really nice to see. Also about the game advertising, player first monetization, and where the game business is heading next. So it was
Thank
lovely.
you.
It was lovely having you here, and also I want to thank everyone for tuning in. You will find this conversation on LinkedIn, also on Spotify and YouTube, and also in the newsletter as always. And thank you so much. See you next time.
Thank you. See you soon. Let's have a great 2026.